There is a major new poll out today that not only puts President Biden's approval rating at a new all-time low, but shows him down by 7 points to Donald Trump in a head-to-head matchup. 7 points. Now, that should be a wake-up call for Democrats. But most Democrats still don't seem willing to have a serious discussion about other options beyond a Biden-Harris re-election bid. Instead, they keep insisting, effectively, on burying their heads in the sand. The ABC News Washington Post poll released this weekend puts Biden's approval rating at just 36%. It's the lowest for any president since they started doing these kinds of polling. The survey also shows Biden getting trounced in a hypothetical 2024 matchup with former President Donald Trump, with 36% saying they would definitely vote for Trump, 9% saying probably, and with just 32% saying they'd definitely vote for Biden, 6 saying probably, that's 45-38, definitely and probably for Trump. If you include the leaning towards, it's 49-42 for Trump. The same poll found only 32% of Americans think Biden has the mental acuity to serve a second term compared to 54% for Trump. Now, those numbers coming while Trump has had an ongoing civil rape trial against him. He's currently under criminal indictment in New York. So whether Democrats are willing to acknowledge it or not, they have a serious potential problem on their hands. Not just Biden, but Vice President Kamala Harris, extremely unpopular as well, usually even less so than Biden himself. These last few weeks, I've raised the Harris issue as being a huge one because 63% of Americans don't seem to think Biden will finish out a second term. But for even raising that issue and question, I was accused by many on the left of being a racist and a misogynist. Now, this ABC Washington Post poll shows that Biden's approval rating among black voters, who essentially saved his presidential bid in 2020, is flagging as well. His approval rating now just 52% among African-American voters, down from 82% when he took office. 27% of African-Americans say they definitely or probably vote for Donald Trump in 2024. It's something that Democratic strategist and former chair of the DNC, Donna Brazile, said ought to be a really big deal for Democrats.
I was told I could not send the poll around to after 12 midnight. I sent it out at 12:02 because it kept me up, and I thought they should wake up and look at those numbers. I'm telling you, when you see that number with black voters, let me just tell you, somebody we both worked for, had our ex-president Clinton saw those numbers, the first black president, he would have called us at 12:01 when I sent that poll and say, get out there and start working.
For Democrats who've called Trump an existential threat to democracy, you would think this would be a wake-up call, but I'm not sure that it is. Joining us now, ChristopherHahn, former aide to Democrat Senator Chuck Schumer and a NewsNation political contributor. Thanks for coming on, Chris. Appreciate it. All right, so what do you make of this? I mean, is this going to be any kind of wake-up call for Democrats?
It better be. Look, there's only two ways to run, unopposed or scared. And if Democrats are not scared of losing with their 80-year-old candidate, 81 next year, they better be, right? This poll is without a doubt a wake-up call. It should be alarming to some Democrats, particularly that number with African-American voters. I don't like it at all. Now, I don't think that it's going to carry on forever. There are numbers in that poll I like. 55% of voters think Trump should face criminal charges. I don't find people who think people are criminals voting for them often. So we'll see where this goes, but Democrats should take it very serious, and so should the president. And quite frankly, I think the biggest problem he has is his age. He needs to get out there, start showing the American people that he is capable of serving a full 4-year term. And he starts by doing lots of events often and being very loud about it.
That's how Biden can try to make up for it, and I'm sure he's going to do that. But what about the possibility of someone real running against him in the primary? Not a Robert F. Kennedy Jr., not a Marianne Williams. You know, someone who's got a real shot. You know, Jared Polis, the Colorado governor. I don't know. You could name a whole list. Amy Klobuchar. I mean, someone who would be seen as maybe not the ideal candidate, but an ideal option versus Donald Trump.
Look, nobody serious is going to challenge the sitting president of either party. It rarely happens. When it does, it spells disaster. As you could ask George Herbert Walker Bush when he was challenged back in '92. He didn't lose that primary, but it definitely weakened him in the general election against Bill Clinton. And Jimmy Carter, as he was challenged by Kennedy. It's a major problem. But I don't see that arising right now in the Democratic Party because Joe Biden has done a pretty good job in implementing Democratic policies. So the only reason that they would have to run against him is ambition and showing that Biden is weak.
Or that
if they do that, they're not going to win the primary, but they'll weaken him.
But the reason to run against him would be because he could lose against Donald Trump, and just about any other Democrat could beat him. You would think that that's a real good reason. But
anybody.
Thank you for watching. Go to NewsNationNow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.